The greatest battle is not against the world, it is against yourself. Every day people lose control over small things, a disrespectful comment, a delayed message, a bad morning, a difficult person, and without realizing it, their emotions begin controlling their actions. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But most people never realize it. They allow temporary emotions to create permanent damage. One moment of anger destroys years of trust. One emotional reaction ruins opportunities. One impulsive decision changes the direction of a life. Because when emotions become your master, peace disappears. The Stoics understood something most people still fail to understand today. Your emotions are not the enemy. Your lack of control is. A storm outside cannot harm you unless you allow the storm to enter your mind. And this is why emotionally controlled people appear powerful. Not because they never feel anger, not because they never feel pain, but because they refuse to become slaves to temporary emotions. Anyone can react, anyone can shout, anyone can lose control, but remaining calm when chaos surrounds you, that is rare strength. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire filled with war, betrayal, disease, and endless pressure. Yet he constantly reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. In other words, the event is not destroying you. Your interpretation is. A person ignores you. Immediately, the mind creates stories. They disrespect me. They don't care. I'm not important. And suddenly, your peace is gone. But what truly happened? Only silence. The suffering was created inside the mind. This is why emotional control begins with awareness. Before reacting, pause. Observe your thoughts like a watcher standing beside a river. Not every emotion deserves expression. Not every thought deserves action. Most emotions are temporary waves. If you stop feeding them, they disappear on their own. Anger especially is dangerous. Marcus Aurelius warned himself constantly about anger because he understood how destructive it becomes. How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Think about that carefully. The thing that angered you may last 5 minutes, but the consequences of your reaction can last years. A broken relationship, a ruined reputation, a painful regret, all because of one uncontrolled moment. And the truth is, most emotional reactions come from wounded pride. Someone disagrees with you, someone criticizes you, someone refuses to validate you, and the ego immediately demands a response. But Marcus Aurelius believed that true strength is quiet. A strong person does not need to prove themselves constantly. A strong person does not lose peace trying to win every argument, because wisdom understands something ego never will. Not every battle deserves your energy. Some people want reactions because chaos is their nature. When you react emotionally, you become part of their disorder. But calmness protects you. Silence protects you. Self-control protects you. This is why emotionally disciplined people often appear unshakable. Inside, they still feel emotions, but they no longer obey them immediately. They create space between feeling and action. And inside that space, power exists. Most people live automatically. They feel anger, they react. They feel sadness, they collapse. They feel fear, they stop moving. But Stoicism teaches something different. Feel the emotion, observe it, then choose your response carefully, because your response becomes your character. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that life is short, very short. One day, everyone who insulted you will disappear. Everyone who praised you will disappear. Even you will disappear. So why waste your limited life controlled by emotions that come and go like passing weather? The Stoics believed that peace comes from mastering yourself, not controlling other people, not controlling circumstances, but controlling your own mind. And this is difficult, especially in a world designed to trigger emotions constantly. Social media feeds anger, news feeds fear, comparison feeds insecurity. Everyone reacts instantly now. Very few pause and think. That is why emotional discipline has become rare, and rare qualities become powerful. Imagine walking through life impossible to manipulate emotionally. Insults no longer control your mood, delays no longer ruin your peace, criticism no longer destroys your confidence. That is freedom, real freedom, because the person who controls their emotions cannot easily be controlled by the world. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He knew external chaos would never end. Problems would continue. People would disappoint him. Life would remain unpredictable. But he also understood this. Your inner world can remain calm even when the outer world is not. This is the true Stoic mindset. Not becoming emotionless, but becoming emotionally disciplined. There is a difference. Emotionless people become cold. Disciplined people become wise. They still feel deeply, but they do not drown in feelings. And perhaps the greatest sign of emotional maturity is learning when not to respond. Not every insult deserves defense. Not every misunderstanding deserves explanation. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Sometimes silence is the highest form of self-control. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on how insignificant many daily frustrations truly are. A rude person, a difficult coworker, a delayed plan. None of these are worth destroying your peace over, because peace is expensive, and emotional reactions often cost too much. The Stoics believed that every morning you should prepare yourself mentally for difficult people and difficult situations. Not to become negative, but to become ready, because preparation weakens emotional shock. When hardship arrives unexpectedly, emotions dominate. But when the mind expects difficulty, calmness becomes easier. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." Notice something important. He did not expect life to be easy. He expected challenges, and because of that, he remained steady. Most suffering comes from expecting life to behave exactly how we want. But life does not obey our expectations. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Moments will hurt. And yet, you still have the power to choose your response. That power can never be taken from you unless you surrender it. So the next time anger rises, pause. The next time anxiety appears, breathe. The next time someone tries to pull you into chaos, remain calm. Because emotional control is not weakness. It is one of the highest forms of strength. Anyone can lose control. Very few can master themselves. And in the end, the person who conquers their own mind becomes stronger than the person trying to conquer the world. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control things outside themselves. They try to control how others see them, how others behave, how life unfolds. And because the world refuses to obey them, they remain in constant frustration. Marcus Aurelius understood a truth that changes everything. You cannot control external events. You can only control your response. This single realization can free a person from endless suffering, because once you stop demanding control over the uncontrollable, your mind becomes lighter. Think about how much emotional pain comes from resistance. You wanted someone to stay. They left. You wanted life to move faster. It delayed you. You wanted fairness. Life gave you difficulty instead, and the mind keeps fighting reality. This should not happen. This is unfair. Why me? But reality does not change because of emotional resistance. The storm continues anyway, and so the Stoics asked a different question. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, How should I respond to this wisely? That question changes everything, because suddenly you stop becoming a victim of emotions. You become responsible for your character. Marcus Aurelius believed that your mind is like a fortress, and every emotional reaction is either protecting the fortress or weakening it. Each moment of uncontrolled anger weakens it. Each impulsive decision cracks it further. Each emotional outburst gives away your power, but patience strengthens it. Discipline strengthens it. Self-awareness strengthens it. Over time, emotional control becomes a kind of quiet armor. People may insult you, but they cannot control your peace. People may doubt you, but they cannot control your purpose. Life may become difficult, but difficulty does not have permission to destroy your mind. This is why Stoicism is not about avoiding pain. It is about becoming stronger than pain. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that emotions become dangerous when they are left unquestioned. The mind says, you must react. You must defend yourself. You must prove something. But wisdom asks, is this reaction necessary? Will this matter in a year? Am I protecting my peace or feeding my ego? Most emotional reactions come from ego, not wisdom. The ego wants victory. The ego wants validation. The ego wants attention. But wisdom wants peace. And peace often requires restraint. One of the hardest things in life is remaining calm when you feel misunderstood. The natural instinct is to explain yourself endlessly, to force people to understand you, to defend every criticism. But Marcus Aurelius understood that not everyone will understand you, and chasing validation from everyone is emotional slavery. Some people will judge you no matter what you do. Some people will misunderstand your silence. Others will misunderstand your kindness. Others will misunderstand your growth. And trying to control all opinions will exhaust your spirit. The Stoics believed that your duty is not to control perception. Your duty is to live with integrity. If your actions are honest, peacefully continue forward. Because emotionally mature people stop needing constant approval. They understand that inner peace matters more than public opinion. And perhaps this is why calm people appear powerful. Not loud people, not reactive people, calm people, because calmness signals mastery. Anyone can remain peaceful when life is easy, but remaining peaceful during disrespect, uncertainty, pressure, and disappointment, that reveals true discipline. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, betrayals, political corruption, and personal loss. Yet even during immense pressure, he reminded himself, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Think deeply about that. Your life is shaped not only by events, but by the thoughts you repeatedly allow inside your mind. A negative mind turns small problems into suffering. A disciplined mind turns suffering into strength. This is why emotional control begins internally. Protect your thoughts carefully. Not every thought deserves belief. Some thoughts are simply fear speaking. Some are insecurity speaking. Some are anger speaking. Observe them, but do not obey them automatically. A disciplined mind questions emotional impulses before acting on them. And over time, this creates emotional freedom. You stop reacting instantly. You stop taking everything personally. You stop allowing temporary emotions to dominate permanent decisions. And slowly, your life becomes calmer. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. Marcus Aurelius believed that every human being carries two choices within them, to be ruled by emotion or ruled by reason. Emotion seeks immediate satisfaction. Reason seeks long-term peace. Emotion says, get revenge. Reason says, protect your character. Emotion says, panic. Reason says, observe calmly. Emotion says, react immediately. Reason says, wait. And often the wiser response is slower, because wisdom takes time. This is why silence can be powerful. A silent pause prevents unnecessary damage. A silent moment allows clarity to return. A silent mind sees reality more clearly than an emotional one. The Stoics understood that emotional storms eventually pass. But if you react during the storm, you may create consequences that remain long after the emotion disappears. That is why self-control is one of the greatest forms of intelligence. Not academic intelligence, not social intelligence, inner intelligence, the ability to govern yourself. And the truth is, most people never learn this. They become older, but not wiser. Their emotions still control them at 40 the same way they did at 20. Still reactive, still impulsive, still emotionally dependent on external events. But the person who masters themselves becomes different, more peaceful, more focused, more difficult to disturb. Not because they became emotionless, but because they finally understood. You do not have to react to everything you feel. And perhaps that is one of the greatest lessons Marcus Aurelius leaves behind. Your emotions are temporary visitors. Do not allow temporary visitors to become permanent rulers of your life. There is a dangerous illusion many people believe. They think emotional control means suppressing feelings. But Marcus Aurelius never taught suppression. He taught understanding. Because ignored emotions do not disappear. They hide quietly inside the mind, waiting for the moment you are weakest. True control comes from awareness. To sit with anger without becoming it. To feel sadness without surrendering to it. To experience fear without obeying it. Oh, that is mastery. Most people become whatever they feel in the moment. If they feel angry, they become anger. If they feel anxious, they become anxiety. If they feel offended, they become conflict. But the Stoics practiced separation. They understood this powerful truth. You are not your emotions. You are the observer of them. And this changes everything. Because once you stop identifying with every emotion, you stop being controlled by them. Imagine standing outside during a storm. The wind moves violently, rain crashes everywhere, thunder shakes the sky. But eventually, the storm passes. Emotions work the same way. No emotion stays forever. Not anger, not fear, not sadness. But when people react impulsively, they turn temporary emotions into permanent consequences. Marcus Aurelius trained himself daily to remember this. He knew the mind exaggerates emotions. A small insult feels enormous. A temporary setback feels permanent. A difficult day feels like a ruined life. But wisdom creates perspective, and perspective weakens emotional chaos. This is why emotionally disciplined people do not panic easily. They understand that most problems are temporary. The mind says, "This is unbearable." But time proves otherwise. You survive. You adapt. You continue. The Stoics believed human beings are often destroyed more by imagination than reality. Fear especially lives inside imagination. The mind creates disasters that do not even exist yet. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if everything goes wrong? And suddenly the body suffers from events that have not even happened. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to return to the present moment. Not tomorrow. Not yesterday. Now. Because emotional suffering often lives in places where reality does not exist. Regret lives in the past. Anxiety lives in the future. But peace exists in the present. This moment. Right now. Breathe slowly. Observe carefully. Return to yourself. The Stoics believed the mind becomes stronger through discipline, just as the body becomes stronger through training. And emotional discipline requires practice. You will not become calm overnight. At first, emotions will still pull you strongly. Anger will tempt you. Fear will shake you. Ego will demand reactions. But every time you pause instead of reacting, you grow stronger. Every time you choose patience over impulse, you strengthen your mind. Every moment of restraint becomes training for the soul. Marcus Aurelius understood that the strongest people are often the calmest, not because life spared them suffering, but because suffering taught them control. Pain can destroy a person, or refine them. Difficulty can make someone bitter, or wiser. The difference is found in how they respond. And this is why Stoicism places enormous importance on personal responsibility. You are responsible for your reactions, responsible for your mindset, responsible for your character, not because life is always fair, but because your response always belongs to you. This realization is uncomfortable for many people because blaming others feels easier, blaming circumstances feels easier. But emotional maturity begins the moment you stop saying, "They made me angry," and start saying, "I allowed anger to control me." That is ownership. That is power. Because what you take responsibility for, you can improve. Marcus Aurelius believed that every challenge carries an opportunity hidden inside it. Insults teach patience. Failure teaches humility. Pain teaches resilience. Difficulty teaches endurance. The obstacle becomes the training. And this is why Stoics did not fear hardship the way most people do. They understood that comfort rarely builds strength. A calm sea never creates skilled sailors. Likewise, an easy life rarely creates disciplined minds. Your struggles are shaping you constantly. The question is, will suffering make you emotionally weaker or emotionally wiser? Most people allow suffering to harden them. They become reactive, distrustful, angry at life. But wisdom transforms suffering into understanding. The Stoics believed every human being is temporary. Every emotion, every conflict, every victory, every pain, temporary. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on death, not out of darkness, but clarity. Because remembering life is short changes how you react to small things. Suddenly, arguments feel meaningless, petty drama feels exhausting, ego battles feel childish. You begin protecting your peace more carefully. You realize time is too valuable to waste on emotional chaos. And perhaps this is the deepest lesson of all. A peaceful mind is one of the greatest forms of wealth a person can possess. Not money, not status, not admiration, inner peace. Because without inner peace, nothing external will ever feel enough. The world may praise you, yet your mind remains restless. The world may give you success, yet your emotions still control you. But when your mind becomes disciplined, even difficult days lose their power over you. This is the strength Marcus Aurelius tried to cultivate. A mind that remained steady, regardless of circumstances. Not perfect, not emotionless, simply disciplined.